all knew after watching the first trial that evidence was horribly mishandled in this entire investigation. And I guess I just assumed they would blame it all on Proctor, right? But they don't. Yuri's like, oh, no, we did a good job. Everything was handled honorably and with integrity, and we did everything right. There's so many times where what they're saying doesn't match what they're doing. Watch this video, and I'll be right back at the end.
Find the other sneaker, that it would be somewhere where Mr. O'Keefe was found or where he was initially struck by a vehicle.
Did you and Mr. Proctor have an opportunity around that time, 12:30, 1 o'clock, to go back to that address to look for the sneaker?
We did not know.
Why not?
Again, during the critical early hours of an investigation, timing is essential. We have to make sure we get to any and every location that could possibly have evidence and prevent that evidence from being destroyed, altered, or concealed.
So this is when they're at Good Samaritan Hospital. Yuri and Proctor have walked in to inspect John, and they have seen on his body that there's no injury beneath, like here down, right? There's scratches on his arm and there's some scratches on his knee, but nothing that would give you the indication this man has been hit by a car. But he's missing a shoe. And for some reason, Yuri, in his tiny little varmint brain, he thinks that, well, if you're missing a shoe, you're automatically hit by a car. Like, he has connected that, and he's sure it's a vehicle strike. And you hear Brennan ask him, well, the other shoe then must be at the scene, right? They've never once gone to the scene all day long. And here's Brennan like, so that means you're going to run over the scene, right? Because that's where the shoe is. And you've just said, every piece of evidence is important, and the shoe proves there's a vehicle strike. And Yuri's like, not so fast. Not so fast. We want to go out to Dighton and bully Karen Reed a little bit first. You would think he would at least make a phone call and tell somebody to go to 34 Fairview and say, I suspect there is a Nike sneaker there somewhere. I understand that the weather is shitty and no one can search. We'll call the CERT team. But you need someone to at least go, a trooper, to go sit in their car, in the road, and make sure no one goes to 34 Fairview. Period. You got to make sure you secure the scene. He doesn't. And by the way, if he's so convinced in his head that it is a vehicle strike, well, it's probably not, the shoe's probably not the only thing there, right, Yuri? There's probably other parts of the car, something that advances that theory. But he can't, everything's important, but he can't go there. He can't go there. He's got other things to do. So they cruise out to Dighton, because they want to have a look at the vehicle. Now, I love this part because Yuri testifies that while they're in the car driving to Dighton, it's like an hour. He says an hour and 15. So they're in the car. This is sometime between 2 and 3. Proctor gets a phone call from Jen McCabe. Talked about this in another video. Jen McCabe suddenly mentions to Proctor, oh, I forgot. Remember, Karen had a cracked taillight. Now, you and I can both be sure, as we sit here today, that she said cracked. Because had she said, oh my God, I totally forgot to tell you, Karen's taillight is 100% gone. The entire red cover, gone. I saw it when we were at John's house earlier this morning, gone. She's hit something, and she's hit something really badly, and there's no taillight left. Had that been what she said, you know that Proctor would have picked up the phone. He would have told Tully, this is an urgent situation. Get CERT. Don't let CERT wait 2 hours to get there. They need to hustle their asses there. And until then, we need somebody else, even again, if it's just somebody to go rope off the area, because it's not just a sneaker. We think there may be a full entire casing from the taillight out there, because Jen McCabe has just told us she witnessed with her own little beady eyeballs that entire casing is missing. But that's not what Jen said. All the best Jen could say is it was cracked. But it gets better. If they arrived at Karen's dad's house in Dighton, and Buchanan and Proctor would have walked up to that SUV and they'd have wiped off the snow and they would have said, holy shit, the entire casing is gone. That entire, basically all the red is gone. And even some of the diffuser. All of it is gone. They would have done a couple of things. One, they would have stopped everything. They would have photographed. They would have taken video. They would have done everything to be like, we just arrived this time, this date. This is what the taillight looks like. That officer from Dighton, they probably would have made sure that he also was witness to it. They also probably would have collected a witness statement from the tow truck driver to say, you're our witness, please sign here. The taillight is completely gone. The taillight is completely gone. But more urgently, if the taillight casing is not on the car at Dighton, where is it? It's at 34 Fairview. So now another call should go out to be like, get there now. Get somebody over there. The entire taillight is there and a sneaker. Get somebody the fuck over there now. But they don't. But they don't. If they had a statement from a witness saying that Karen said she hit him, and then the entire taillight is missing, and they seem to think that the injuries in the shoe mean John was hit by a vehicle strike, they would have walked right inside and they would have arrested Karen Read that minute. They had probable cause. If the entire taillight was gone, they could say, yep, we think you hit him with the car. We're going to take you in. They also wouldn't have towed the car past 2 other police stations. There were 2 other places closer that the Massachusetts State Police can use for storage of impounded vehicles. 2 police stations closer. Now you would think, if the entire taillight was blown out, wouldn't they want to get to the quickest place possible? Get it as quickly in and impound it as quickly as you can, rope it all off, take as many photographs as you can, and then rush those photographs over to the scene. In fact, if they'd have taken it to a closer Sally Port, then both Yuri and Proctor could have ran over to the scene and started looking for taillight. They didn't. And when O'Hara and the CERT guys arrive, they arrived before 5, but they were told to hold. Why would they hold? If you've already viewed the SUV, you've already got witness statements to say the entire taillight is gone, every bit of red gone. Why would you tell the CERT team to hold? You know it's there. You would say, O'Hara, I don't care if you're there by yourself. God damn it, get down on your hands and knees and find that red plastic. And they didn't. They're like, we're going to need you to hold. We're going to need you to hold until at least 5:45. Because the SUV finally arrived at the Canton Sally Port at 5:35. By the way, the Canton Sally Port has 28 different cameras, interior and exterior. And I know that some of them are older analog cameras that don't give you much. But it just seems shocking that there's that much video coverage and it was that hard to get the fucking videos.